Okay, well, this is a story of this local community. This one fella, he's kind of a local legend. It's got Joe. And Joe can always be found with these two sidekicks of his. They're just always by his side, old Rufus and Clyde. And Rufus and Clyde, how do I say, they're not the most mentally gifted people, but they're good friends and loyal to old Joe, and they get along just fine. So anywhere Joe goes, you can find Rufus and Clyde uh, along his side. So anyway, one day, turns out old Joe died, and they couldn't find any next of kin. So someone suggested if you round up Rufus and Clyde, they can probably identify the body and give it a positive ID that it is in fact Joe there. So they did that. And they brought Rufus and Clyde into the morgue, and opened the drawer and pulled him out, and they said, "Now we need you to identify this body and tell us if it's old Joe." So Rufus took a look, and he kind of looked up and down, and he said, yeah, I don't know if that's Joe. You take a look, Clyde." Clyde took a good look too, and he said, "Yeah, you're right, I can't tell for sure." He said, "But maybe if you flip the body over, I think I'd be able to tell for sure if that's Joe." And the doctor's there. He said, "Really? Okay, well," granted his wish, and they flipped over the body, and he took another look up and down. He said, yeah, I don't know if that's Joe." He said, "Rufus, you take a look, and what do you think?" And he looked and kind of peeked in there, and he said, "Nah." He said, "I don't think that could possibly be Joe, because this body here, it only has one asshole, and old Joe had two assholes." And the doctor says, "That's highly unlikely." He said, "Do you know for a fact that Joe had the two assholes? I mean, did you ever see them personally?" And Rufus and Clyde looked at each other, and they said, "Well, no, I never saw them personally, but all I do know is that anywhere we ever went, whenever we walked into a room, someone would usually look and say, 'Hey, look, everybody, here's old Joe with them two assholes.'"